It's unfold right before us. You just got to get damn. There's a hole in the back of the fish.
Now let's look back at the area as Khalid is being brought out on men's shoulders. That's the door he would have went out of. This is where the cars were trapped in that area there, wasn't it? Cars all turned backwards or something. If he would have been carried right on out this door, and that person would have had that shot. That was their shot. Stop. Okay. And I just wish I could freeze it.
It's more significant to understand not so much the coming out. That's important because that would have given the second chance at the assassination. But it's more important to understand that when I arrived in a security motorcade, that I realized that none of the officers from Mosque number 27 in Los Angeles were present. None of the key men who were there the night before at the big event at Marley Gibbs in Los Angeles were present, and Riverside is not an hour outside of Los Angeles. In this security motorcade, you had one, I can't think of his name, which one was here? He could help me. No, this,
Salim.
it's going to come up in a few minutes. I can't think of his name. He was in charge. This is a man very inexperienced. Me having been a regional captain, a local captain, and a supreme captain, naturally I'm studying security.
Right.
So when the motorcade pulled in, I saw all the white folks protesting outside. Just a sea of crackers outside with placards, chanting all kind of, he's a hater, he's a this. And then I could see the so-called white Jews, with Irv Rubin and the Jewish Defense League, cops everywhere. Me looking immediately and not seeing a captain or a lieutenant or not even a squad leader that I recognized from the headquarters mosque, I saw only inexperienced brothers, new brothers, or what we call processing brothers. So immediately I tell them, stop the caravan right here. I want to get out, not to go and hide somewhere. I want to get out and get right in the middle of the protest so I can coordinate the security. His name's going to come to me in a minute. Nobody wanted me to get out of the car. They wanted me to stay in the car, which would have come down, would have made a right turn on the side of the building where I was to speak, and would have gone to this exact spot in the back of the building, which would have been directly across from the cutout shrubbery and even the chain link fence,
Which had a hole in it.
and been cut out with wire cutters. We would have taken a right turn with the caravan, gone to that backstage door.
Who could have helped you back there? Who was back there to help you? What would have, the point, it separated you in
Nobody
from
would have known
everybody.
what happened
Right,
in the
there
back
you
of the
go.
building.
There you go.
The shot could have been made either from a prone position, from the bushes, or a standing position. Probably wouldn't have even known where the shot came from because, as Brother Jamal was just pointing out, it was from a knoll. It was a grassy knoll.
Slightly elevated.
Slightly elevated.
Just like the bush.
Made the shot, made the hit, could have wiped out the whole security team with a 30-06.
Right.
Then, with just a few steps casually on the other side of the fence, you would have been right on another street in the housing section of the university.
Right.
Casually got into the car, everybody else could have driven away undetected.
With the bushes so thick, you couldn't see. You
even
wouldn't
see
see
what
when
was
someone
happening
who
on the
did
other
something on
side.
the inside. On the outside, you could have known that they did that because of the brush being that thick.
So immediately I said, stop the car. They didn't want to stop the car. They wanted me to stay in the so-called security caravan. My instinct, I want to be in the middle of all of this because I want to coordinate it and deal with all of these crackers and everybody that's outside. So they wouldn't stop the vehicle. I opened the door with the car still rolling, not knowing I'm saving my life. I jump out and I had to get my balance as I jump out. I close the door and tell them to go on and park the vehicle. First thing, if I would have gone with the caravan, then I would have had all of them to turn the vehicles around at the back door. That's standard operating procedure in the nation. But which would have paid off and I would have gotten out of there quicker after I was shot. But all of the cars were turned in the wrong direction, had to maneuver to turn them around. All of that would have been done initially. So I jump out. I jump in the middle of all of these crackers, start organizing the crackers and everybody.
Walk up on Irv Rubin and they all standing there. Looks like they're ready to fight and stuff.
Yeah, walk right up on them.
The police walked up next to you all.
That's correct. And the security that day, the head of the police was a Jew. Irv Rubin and the JDL leader and the cop knew each other. So there was coordination between the two of them.
And remember the ADL asked that there be no searching there at the event. And isn't it odd that the ADL would come amongst 6 whites, would come amongst 400 blacks, and ask for there to be no searching, as if their life wouldn't be in jeopardy under such a circumstance.
Absolutely. With so many of them there.
Right,
Also interested in on February 21st, 1965, and that Sunday at the Audubon Auditorium, it was approximately 400 or 500 present. Anyway, I get in, I take over the check room, I set up all of the security. I say that if, I saw no other officers, I said if the JDL was to come in, then they had to be searched. And I was going to search them myself. So you can pay, first of all, you got to pay. You pay and I'll search you myself. If you don't get searched, you don't come in. So I took over the check room, I searched Irv Rubin, I searched his boys, and all of the white folks left.
Get up.
They all left. Cops started disappearing completely. Just as at the Audubon Auditorium, members of BOSS were supposed to be present, the Bureau of Special Services and other undercover agents were there along with the Negro, Gene Roberts, and those who were inside of the OAAU. Another contingent of New York PD was supposed to be present at the Audubon. Mysteriously, none of the undercover cops pulled a service revolver the day that Malcolm was assassinated, and none of that special contingent of New York PD were on hand. Conveniently, they were not on hand when the assassination of Malcolm went down. All right. We get the note during the question and answer period stating that the students would have to pay extra money if we stayed in the auditorium, that it was now, I guess, 6 o'clock or whatever time, and we had to leave. So during this time, there was a panic, it appears. There was a panic because I didn't come in the back door. That spoiled everything.
Right.
James Best locked the guns and everything up, somebody locked them up, in his car and the keys, and he couldn't get in. The news reports say that while I'm speaking, the police, somebody in the dormitory calls the police, and the police come to the scene, which is on the other side of that fence, on the other side of those bushes. The police come to the scene, and in the police coming to the scene, they jimmy the locks and make a way for James Best and those who were with him to get into the vehicle to get the gun. So that fouled everything. It spoiled everything. It spoiled everything. It spoiled it. So we get the note, and I say to the students, we're going to finish the question and answer period, but we'll go outside. We'll go out in front of the building. So somehow, I got out of the caravan and didn't go in the back door. Somehow, and it's time for me to leave, since they didn't hit me going in, it was understood we'll get him going out. He'll come out of the door, backstage door, that he didn't come into. But when I got the note, I went out the front door and took everybody out the front door with me, still not knowing what danger was lurking at the back door.
Instinct.
I was only outside for a few minutes. And it's important that an argument broke out just seconds before I was shot. The argument broke out between the handful of inexperienced new Muslims and one or two supposed to have been seasoned but were from out in the San Bernardino, Rialto, Fontana, Riverside, Pomona area who I did not know anything about. The key brother there who was with me was brother Stanley Tueck.